Hello, everybody. Jeffrey here with Landon Kale. Mark is out tonight. Mark, do you even know where Mark is tonight, Landon?
I don't know. Maybe he's on another cruise.
No, actually, that's next week.
It's next week?
Yeah, next week. He's leaving Friday for a cruise. He's taking the whole family, his son and daughter-in-law, everybody on a cruise. They're leaving Friday, driving down to Florida, and then they are going to be going out, I think, Saturday till the following Friday out of Port Canaveral.
Good for them.
Tonight was Abigail's golf banquet because it's the end of the golfing season for the Cane Bay girls.
Cool.
So they had their last tournament here a couple weeks ago. I think I'm going to be close on numbers. They were like 15 teams there, I think, and I think the Cane Bay came in like 6th or 7th, somewhere around that. So they had a pretty good year.
Cool. Yeah, I know Abby's doing really, really well in golf now.
She has, I would say she has surpassed Mark. Like if Abigail and Mark were to go out, there's a good chance that Abigail's going to win. Oh,
if she didn't win, we would have some questions.
Now, I still do beat her when we go to Top Golf. So like the little short game where you're trying to get the, as many into the net, 20 yards. But because that's like I don't hit anything past like 50 yards, so I still beat her at Top Golf, but I would never play her at doing it out there on the real. So today I got Landon Kale here. We're going to go through some things. I am going to apologize. I have a man cold, and I am the term man cold is like absolutely like it's me. I'm that guy. I'm a big giant baby. I slept 11 hours last night overnight. And I went home this afternoon and took an hour and a half long nap. So my voice is going to go at some point. I've got my water here ready to go. I also did the very first time ever. You ever have hot chocolate through a Keurig machine?
I have not.
It's pretty good. I thought maybe a hot beverage would help with my throat.
Do you like when you do the Keurig? So when you do the Keurig, do you have to add milk to it, or does it have milk?
No, it's just water. I mean, the old hot chocolate mixes were just hot water anyway. They're better with milk, but through the Keurig it was just water. But it's actually pretty good. Well, hopefully that'll keep the coughing at bay for a few minutes.
Oh, you'll be fine.
And the Deer Park water on the flip side here, I will say this is 100% natural spring water that we have here in our office because I tried to save 14 cents a case and I bought filtered water one time and Mark gave me a big scolding. He's like, our clients deserve more than filtered water. I want only spring water in that office. So I bought spring water now, not filtered.
So do you have a Costco membership? Do you go to Costco?
I have a BJ's membership because there's a BJ's here in Summerville and the Costco and the Sam's Club are a little bit farther away.
So maybe BJ's, that's the same thing. I don't know. But Costco, in the cafeteria, they have a bottled water vending machine. And bottled water is $0.25 in that vending machine. I've always thought, do you save money and just taking 50 quarters and buying water out of the vending machine at $0.25? Or is it the same price if you were just to go find the big thing back in the shelves at Costco? I
Well,
actually thought of that the other day.
well, no, because even at a quarter, that would be a case of 24 would be like $6, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so I think
Over a
I
dollar.
think there are cases of water, and that might be that garbage filtered water that Mark yelled at me about too. So maybe that it's a little bit cheaper. So no, all right, let's get back in the game here. We're in this. I'm gonna go over. Let's see who's here. Let's see. We got Tom and Deb here from St. Cloud, Minnesota. I can't imagine what temperature it is in Minnesota now. December 1st closing coming. Good to see Landon. Say hello to my son Nathan. Hello Nathan. I guess Nathan's watching with us tonight. And Ola, Mike Turco from Tidewater. Son heating adult beverages rule of the day. I actually had somebody take me up on an adult beverage here in the office yesterday. You know, when people come in, I always say, hey, we got water, moonshine, and beer. She actually had a beer.
Really?
As it turns out, if you get the client drunk, it's easier to sell a much more expensive house to them. So, although you got to get pre-approved.
But the contracts are null and void if they're too drunk.
Well, that's true. Yeah, I guess we've never had to experience that. So, Vic and Lori here from New York. New house in Del Webb Nexting is going vertical this week. Super exciting. Bob there from Horizons Carnes, enjoying the weather. Yeah, Bob, it's just I was out in the golf cart in Carnes the other day. Just gorgeous, gorgeous weather. John and Justine are here from Summerville, and Robin says we have moonshine. Yes, Robin, there is moonshine in the refrigerator here at the office. Robin is on our team. All right, so Mark put together some slides for me here. The first one I want to talk about is this one, and that is that y'all showed up. We got a call a couple weeks ago from a local school, and they said, hey, we have a need for some money that we don't have enough money to buy enough Thanksgiving meals for everybody. And so I think it was about 38 families, whatever it was. We needed $2,800. And Landon, I put on my Facebook page, and Mark put on his Facebook page. And then we put it on our company Facebook page.
Yeah.
And then we put it on the Tuesday Live last week. And we ended up, I think, with $2,866. So Mark sent the check over today. And so everybody at that school has Thanksgiving dinner coming. So thank you, everybody, so much. Y'all were awesome. And I don't even think I hit you up on that yet, did I, Landon?
You have not, Mr. Jeffrey.
Yeah, Landon would have been my next go-to if we really would have said, hey, we're really short on money, and Landon would have ponied up for us.
Can you get me an invoice?
Make this a business expense?
Can you get me an invoice?
We met our goal. We're good.
All right. I was about to say, if you give me an invoice, I can expense it.
I know it. All right, so this week, let's talk about what's under contract. Still seeing a slight improvement in buying activity for this time of year. 257 under contract. That's 9 more than last week. So anytime we start to get to, October, November, we start seeing increases. That's a great sign as we get closer to the holidays. 207 single-family homes under contract. The median price was $490,000. And that was at $251 a square foot. And that was a $60,000 decrease from last week. So Landon, last week, that median house increase for the week was up like $60,000. I don't remember exactly what it was.
Yeah.
But these can range obviously big time from week to week.
Right. December's always, what you're seeing under contract now are December closings. And typically December has been a really good month historically for real estate. I know it sounds crazy, but usually December can be a good month.
Yeah. We've had a busy fourth quarter this year, and we're lined up for a busy first quarter of next year with I don't know what it is, but typically we have about 30 plus homes under contract at any time. Mm-hmm. We'll go over what our team numbers were for the year, the end of the year, but we're on track to do over 100 homes this year, and that was Mark and I's goal was 100 homes. So I think we're going to make that. Condos and townhomes as high as 4.2 million. Boy, that'd be a really nice condo, wouldn't it? 4.2 million. Mortgage news rates. We're going to talk a little bit more with you about this because this is your world. But as of today, the 30-year fixed was at 6.38 with the government loans, FHA and VA at 6.01. Landon, I assume FHA and VA always are pretty close to the same number. Is that right?
Pretty close. Yeah, they're not going to be too terribly far apart. Credit score plays a big key role in that, obviously, but for the most part, they're pretty similar.
Gotcha. And then I want to go. Let me skip. I want to show a couple things here. I'm going to go down to some other slides that he had given me. Actually, let me talk about this first. This video is of Riley. Yesterday, we went to. All right, I got to figure out how to mute this thing before. So Andrea comes home on Monday. No, on Sunday. She had taken Riley out practicing for her driving test.
Yeah.
And she came home and said, everything's great. She's doing really good. We're struggling with the parallel parking. Yeah. So driver's test was today. So this is video of Riley and I. We went out last night and over to Northwood's church where she goes to school at Northwood Christian Academy. And we practiced driving and doing the parallel parking. So check this out. I was a little concerned after the first 20 minutes or so of practice. It wasn't going well. This was about attempt number 45 that we did, and she nailed it. Look how close she gets to the line. Doesn't go over. Meanwhile, I'm out there in shorts and a t-shirt, by the way, because I didn't realize we were going to be out after dark, and it does get cold here now. So that was the end result of the practice last night. She was very pleased with herself.
Yeah.
And then today, here she is. She passed her driver's exam today.
So this is the full license, not the learner's permit, the full shebang.
Full license now. She is now a licensed. Well, she will be. She's got to go over to the DMV and get the picture taken. And then I got to get her added to the insurance. So I'm really looking forward to that.
I'm sure you are.
Going to be
now,
fantastic.
Have you gotten a new driver bumper sticker for her yet?
Oh, I have a magnet on the back of the car that we've had while she's been practicing this whole time. She has not driven my car or Andrea's car one time. I got the girls at Kia Soul. And nice. So that's on that. But I'll tell you what, I might get one of those from the back of my car because I've really enjoyed driving that car around with the bumper, with the sticker on the back saying new driver, because I feel like I could screw up and nobody will get mad and scream at me.
Yeah. And if she needs some more parallel parking experience, let's throw her in the fire. We'll take her down to King Street, downtown Charleston.
That would be terrifying. Terrifying. Mary says, my son Nathan knows you. Oh, hello, Nathan. Hello. Mike Turco says 34. My boss says 38. Dan and Judy checking in from Chesterfield, Michigan. The Gihos are here from Summerwind Crossing in the new house. And Robin says, great job, Riley. Congrats. Yeah, Reagan's going to start doing her driver's test here very, very soon. She's got to do 6 hours of driving with the instructor, and then she'll go take her test. But I think she'll do good. So there's 100 points. You have to score 70 out of 100 of the driving test. And Riley got 91 today. So I think it'll be a big fight here to see. Reagan will just want to get 92. Just one more than Riley.
Yeah. When I had my driving lessons, the school I went to, that part of summer school, if you wanted to do this, you could come in and do driver's ed that summer. And part of driver's ed was you would get in a car with another student. They would pair you up with somebody. It's kind of like your little battle buddy.
Yeah.
And you just start driving just random places, down the interstate, down small roads, 2-lane roads, whatever. And I did fairly well for the most part, but the one thing that I really just didn't get a hang of so well at the initial part was slowing down to turn off a road.
All right.
So I would kind of slow down, but I would also take turns to turn off a road onto a new road, still going like 25 miles an hour. And that wasn't the best thing, apparently. So that was the biggest thing I had to learn in driver's ed.
One of my first cars was a Suzuki Sidekick, and I was always really concerned I was going to flip that thing. So I always went real slow.
Yeah.
Going around the bends because there was all these rumors about these things being flipped all the time.
Yeah.
Hey, let me show one slide here. Actually, I'm going to switch this up and show this slide here. You sent this to me today. Explain to me what I'm looking at here.
Yeah. So the thing that you're looking at right there is not everybody's individual interest rates over the last couple of years. It's just showing you an average interest rate for a conventional loan going back to basically the beginning of 2022. It's a little small on my screen, Jeff, but you see 2022 at the bottom left of that graph, right?
Yeah, I'm looking at just over 3% back there in the 2022.
Perfect. So if you're kind of looking at this or looking at where rates are on the very right-hand side of that chart now, it's not your specific rate because everybody's rate is dependent upon their credit. Can we put you in an income-based program? What type of product you are? There's a lot of variables that go into this, or what type of home, excuse me. So there's a lot of variables that go into this. So it's just like an average metric to kind of think about. And the thing that's really shocking to me when you look at this is, yes, at the end of 2021, early 2022, you start to see that sharp increase in rates. But once you kind of get to that end of 22, beginning of 23, you don't see it going up and down all that much. Yes, it goes up a little bit and then drops a little bit and then goes up a little bit and then drops a little bit. But it really hasn't been that massive swing that everybody was so worried about. And that's the thing that was more shocking to me when you take a look at this data, because the people that still bought in 2023, mid to late 2023, early 2024, you've had that extra year, 2 years, sometimes 3 years of home appreciation.
Yeah.
And the rates really haven't been that big of a difference. Now, some people that bought at the peak in the middle of that chart, yeah, they're going to notice a little bit of a difference if they refinance now. But for the most part, you're not seeing this massive swing. And so I think that's the thing that people really need to think about is, when you hear rates went up or rates went down, we're not talking these massive swings like we saw in that 2021 to 2023 space.
Yeah. So when people, what is there a rule of thumb for when it makes sense to refinance? I mean, obviously my quick answer has always been, hey, listen, if it's a point, then call Landon and talk through it. And you're always willing to make those conversations happen.
Yeah.
Is that it? I mean, if you're at a 6.8 and the number were to go to 5.8, is that the ballpark?
It depends. First things first, how long are you going to stay in that house? So if you're planning on selling that house in the next 6, 12, 18, 24 months, then we need to be very cautious not to just refinance to refinance, but we need to look at that return on investment. What does that cost to refinance divided by the monthly savings that you're going to see? And that's going to tell you in how many months that you have to have that loan to truly break even on the cost of that refi. So for some people that know they're going to be in their house for 5, 7, 10 plus years, then okay, it may make sense to have that conversation then. But if you know, for example, you're in the military and you've only got a year left in Charleston, and then you're going to PCS somewhere else and you know you're going to sell your house, probably doesn't make a whole lot of sense to refinance.
Right.
So it really depends. The biggest thing that dictates whether or not we need to refinance or should refinance is based around that loan amount. So the higher you have as far as a loan amount, the less of an interest rate drop you need to start seeing cost benefits or cost savings. So if you're trying to refinance $100,000 or $150,000 loan, you're going to have a massive, massive difference in where you are and where you're going to go in rate for you to really notice that monthly savings.
Yeah.
So I think the people that are probably more so to refinance right now, depending on when they bought their home, because you could have bought at one of the bottom areas of that graph you just looked at. You just don't realize it. It's really based around that loan amount and how long you're going to be in that house. But if you have a $700,000+ loan, $1 million+ loan, then a half a point can make a huge difference. So it's really more of a conversation than just a general rule of thumb.
And most of our clients end up with, financing, since the median home that we probably sell is way closer to 500,000 here in Summerville.
Yeah.
And a lot of people come down with, obviously my 55 plus people typically end up coming in with a lot more to put down. So there's a lot less finance. So I get total case by case basis.
Yeah. And then everybody's situations are unique, and how long they're going to have the loan we do for them, or maybe it's going to be a very short time period, like a lot of people that we do work with, and maybe it's a little more prolonged. I've actually talked more people out of refinancing over the last 6 months. I know my boss would love to hear that, but I've actually talked more people out of not refinancing than refinancing. Because I had a client that, funny enough, I'm doing a loan for right now for one of his family members. I did a loan for him year and a half, 2 years ago. And he ended up getting a phone call from his mortgage servicer and refinance. And I was like, what did you have? I can't remember. What did you get when we originally did the loan? He told me, and I said, how much did that refinance cost? Because math isn't adding up in my head right now. And he was like, about $25,000. So he spent $25,000 in closing costs to save money. And I was like, dude, you should have called me. We should have had this conversation. I would probably have talked him out of that, to be honest with you. But it's more of that conversation than anything.
Yeah. All right. So Mark puts together a few slides here. I'm going to go through, because this is some conversations that we have quite a bit. Why people wait to buy house. Number one, they're waiting for the mortgage rates to drop. So we've talked about that some.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, we don't know what the rates are going to do. Some of the smart guys have said we might have another drop in the Fed this year. But I want to talk about, and you've preached this to me because I've said the wrong things a few times, that a Fed rate drop doesn't equal mortgage rate drops. Can you explain what that means and why?
Yeah, completely separate market. So the Fed rate, I'm not an economist. I know basics here, so just bear with me in my Wikipedia knowledge and level of understanding of some of the stuff. But the Fed rate is more of an intra-bank to interbank interest rate. So basically, what do banks borrow money to lend out to the end consumer? So it's really more of an bank interest rate for their internal processes of where they set their interest rates for consumer loans. More credit cards, home equity lines of credit, auto loans, personal loans, things like that. Mortgage rates, 95% of all U.S. residential mortgages are going to kind of fall into this category. The majority of all mortgages in America are going to be one of four main categories: conventional, FHA, VA, and USDA. So 95% of all of the U.S. residential mortgage market is one of those four products. Those four products are backed by the bond market. So the secondary mortgage market, think of a bond kind of like a stock price. So just like when you buy Facebook stock or Google stock, you want to see as an investor that stock price go higher and higher and higher. Same thing with interest rates that are backed by bonds. You want to see that bond price go up in value just like a stock. When the bonds go up, rates come down. When bonds go down in value, rates go up. So because it's a completely separate market, separate from the Fed rate, whenever the Fed does something, yes, that's great for your credit card, your HELOC, your auto loan or personal loans, but it's not affecting the mortgage rates. The other side that people need to realize is the mortgage bond market, because predominantly most people get a 30-year loan. You're dealing with people that are saying, hey, we're going to lend you this money at this rate for 30 years if you keep the loan. So the mindset is way different in the bond market than it is the Fed rate, which is more consumer lending. Now, that chart that you just pulled up at the beginning a few minutes ago, 2021 around 3%, you said, and then at the beginning of 2022, everything started getting higher and higher and higher. What happened? Well, we started coming out of COVID, the economy opening back up. One of the biggest things that changed, though, again, from my limited understanding, I'm not an economist, but when COVID happened, the U.S. government was really trying to stabilize the economy. And the world itself was also trying to stabilize the world markets and the world economy. So the US government basically said, hey, mortgage lenders, we will buy unlimited amount of mortgage bonds. You create it, we buy it. So because there was always going to be a buyer for that bond, the rates started dropping because there was always going to be money out there to buy that bond. Yeah. So the values of those bonds just started shooting through the roof because the US government just said, hey, we're just going to buy unlimited amounts. And the prices started shooting through the roof for the bonds. Rates started coming down. When the government said, hey, we're going to start trailing off the purchase of these bonds, we're going to actually start selling some of them. And then the economy started opening back up. And then the inflationary numbers out of all the economic reports started coming out. The inflation started to get higher. That's where you start to see the increase in interest rates to consumers. So really, I know everybody's thinking, oh, we're going to wait for rates to drop and all that fun stuff. You're literally waiting for a bump in the road. You're literally waiting for that kind of 6 to 12 month period where we had a major economic issue or health issue that caused other parts of the world to get worse. And could it happen again? Sure, anything can happen. But really, I hate to say this, but historically speaking, rates are kind of at the average where they were the last 20 to 30, 40 years. Yeah. So hopefully rates do come down a little bit to ease some of the burden for the end consumer, but it's not going to be this massive drop that people are thinking.
But it would take a world event, you're saying, we're assuming, to get back to the, like, I believe in my career, I'm never going to see the threes and even the fours again. That's my guess. But I think, as you said, it's really we're probably where we should be with the numbers.
Correct. And that's the other weird thing about this whole thing. When rates were super low, everybody was trying to buy a house. Prices started jumping through the roof.
Yes.
They just started jumping. And now with rates where they are, things have kind of stabilized again. So you're not seeing these massive swings in home values, and people are able to get those incentives, kind of like one of the items on the chart, and kind of the thought process of, do we buy now or wait? So it's really created more stability and reassurance for people. And that's really a more stabilized market than anything.
Yeah, I agree. So another reason people waiting for more inventory or better options, we're sitting right now at great inventory. So when we were COVID times, we had, I think Mark and I remember, we definitely remember homes available being under 1,000.
Yeah. So, it was 800 and change, right at 900. And that included the new construction listings.
Yeah. And so now we're at over 5,000 in this market. So I don't really see, in this market at least, inventory being an issue right now. Saving for a bigger down payment. Let's talk through that a little bit, because there's some things available, and you and I have done some deals like this. For somebody, this is, not so much in the 55 plus space, but for some of our other buyers, there's grants and programs and first time buyers things. And talk a little bit about some of that stuff, because we've done multiple deals with that where they've gotten, $9,000, $10,000, $12,000 towards the purchase of a house, and then explain how that's a grant and what that looks like. It's not necessarily free money, but it could be.
Yeah. So without any special incentives or programs or anything, there's two big products out there where somebody can buy a house 100% financing already without any special help from government entities or state entities. That's your USDA loan product and your VA product. VA is probably the most well-known because it's the most advertised, but USDA is a great option for those non-veteran home buyers that aren't VA loan eligible themselves to buy a home currently without any assistance at 100% financing. Now, the only biggest problem with the USDA loan is you've got to meet the income limit based on how many people are in your household, and the house itself has to be in a USDA eligible area. And there's a chart and there's a website that we go to and we look it all up. So before you make an offer on a house with a USDA pre-approval, you're going to know if it's eligible or not.
Yeah, and we do have those areas in this market.
Yeah. What is it? Cane Bay.
Yeah, there's pieces of Cane Bay that are USDA eligible.
Yeah,
out into Knightsville and around the ponds in some of those areas.
Exactly. So right off the rip, two products already out there, no special programs needed, no special grants needed right there. The next biggest one that we see in South Carolina is South Carolina State Housing. That is a state-run kind of housing agency. Every state in America has their own specific housing benefit or housing agency. Where I'm from in Tennessee, it's called THDA. In South Carolina, it's called SC Housing. In Georgia, it's called the Georgia Dream Program. So every state has their own housing authority or housing program that's run by the state and funded as a nonprofit through the state. So in South Carolina, the program that's the biggest one that's always around is the standard state housing program, where you use a conventional loan or a VA loan or an FHA loan or a USDA loan, same product, but the state usually kicks in. I think it's 8-10 grand. I think it's 10 grand now for the standard program that's always
It's
around.
about that, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's 8 grand. Then once a year, South Carolina Housing comes out with something called Palmetto Heroes, which is tailored more for certain types of workers or certain types of industries. So if you're in the military, if you're a teacher, if you're a firefighter, police officer, really those people that support the local community, and there are those kind of boots on the ground support staff for our economy and our government, that program comes out usually end of April, early May is really kind of the time frame that it comes in at. And every year the program comes out, they release the rules on it, what jobs are eligible. So nurses also are example, usually part of that eligible group of industries. And then every year the dollar amount kind of changes a little bit based on how much they give. The cool thing about Palmetto Heroes is they give a little bit more money. They typically give a little bit more money than the regular state housing program, but the interest rate is heavily subsidized and lowered. That's the cool part.
That's almost even a bigger deal than I think the money down, because like last year, what would the difference have been between that mortgage rate under Palmetto Heroes versus now?
Standard.
Is there a South Carolina housing special rate, or that's just the predominant going market rate at the time?
Yeah, so South Carolina housing typically is a lower rate than the standard market. And then once South Carolina housing releases their special per year program called Palmetto Heroes, that rate is way lower than their normal South Carolina housing rate.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what would a South Carolina rate be typically less than the going rate?
So
half point?
Yeah, so every day South Carolina Housing releases a rate sheet. So every morning around 10:30, South Carolina Housing sends their daily rate sheet out. So the one thing about SC Housing that's unique is it's a one rate and only one rate program. There's no buy downs, nothing. It's here's the menu, here's what it is. If you want it, great, but this is the one option for rate. So standard program for South Carolina Housing, 10,000 in assistance. So it is 10,000. It used to be 8,000 for a few years, but they increased it to 10. Right now, with $10,000 in assistance, the FHA, VA, and USDA option is at 5.75.
Okay.
The conventional option is at 6. So usually the Palmetto Heroes program is going to be, give or take, 0.75 to 1% lower than that when it comes out.
Gotcha.
Now, one thing that's really unique about South Carolina Housing is they have a no assistance program now. So this is the cool one. There's no assistance. So they're not giving you money for down payment. They're not giving you any money for closing costs, but they're heavily reducing the rate from their regular program. For FHA, VA, and USDA, the rate today was 4.75 permanently.
Oh, yeah, wow.
Yeah.
Our Husky Dog asking any programs available for 65 and older. I will say that one thing here in South Carolina, after you've been in your house for a year and you are 65, you do get a decrease in your taxes. So you've got a $50,000 homestead exemption on your taxes. So basically, if your house is a $500,000 house, your tax is a $450,000 house.
Yeah.
Are there any of those assist programs available to older buyers?
Most of these are not age related. So they're not going to restrict it based on age. So if a person was eligible based on credit, household income, and everything else as 65 plus, they can 100% use those products and programs because they're not age restricted. Putting an age restriction on a U.S. based mortgage is illegal because we can't discriminate against age, race, sex, ethnicity, anything like that. I would say for the predominant 62 plus buyer, 65 plus buyer, going to go back to more of your reverse mortgage options. Yep. depending on how they want to live their lifestyle in retirement. But everything's going to be the same for 65 plus as everybody else.
Good.
From a down payment perspective.
Lots available.
Yeah. And then not to overcomplicate it, but I mean, there's other non-state run assistance programs. So you have federal home loan bank funds that come out once a year. So we have access to federal home loan bank funds. And this year, those funds were anywhere from 15 to 20,000 in assistance with a normal mortgage, normal loan. But that's really cool as well. And that comes out at certain intervals throughout the year. And then there's other programs that are around year round that aren't run by the state, not backed by the government, but they're more private nonprofits that run those.
And then there's also, and we don't do work with you as much on this because they're incentivized by new home construction, but there's mortgages working through the builders on a lot of the new construction. They will give you closing costs towards sometimes as much as 2 to 3% of the price of the home in closing costs from using their mortgage company. Now, an apple isn't always an apple. So like you and I have done multiple deals where we've talked to you and somebody, the builder was giving them X $1,000 in closing costs. And we were able to see on paper that it was a better deal to go with you. But we have the ability to look at that and say, okay, here's why you would want to go with Landon. And the flip side of that is I've had Landon multiple times say, no, Jeff, that's a great deal. Have them go through the builder's mortgage. And that's why I love having Landon, because he's never going to blow sunshine up my butt. He's going to actually give me the truth and tell me which way we should be going.
Yeah, no, there's some builders out there. Yeah, they give 3, 5, sometimes more than that, $1,000 in closing cost assistance. Sometimes it makes sense to take it. Sometimes it doesn't make sense to take it. So it's really more of that quick hop on a call for 5 or 10 minutes and kind of figure it out.
And that's the other thing. I'm glad you said that, because I want to bring up, even if you are planning on moving here in a year, you guys are really good normally about hooking up with Mark and I and doing a phone call and a Zoom call so that we can be sending you guys listings in neighborhoods that we think make sense for you, for when you do come to visit, you have a better idea what the market is. Mm-hmm. Landon doesn't have an issue having those phone calls, 6, 8, 10 months out either. So that, because I cannot tell you how many times Landon has said, no, don't pay off the car loan. Here's why. Or we're going to pay off the car loan, and here's why. Everything is so special. It's worth a call to Landon to just talk through it, even if you're not planning on moving for a minute, right?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest one is people that are still working, maybe out west or up north, that are planning on moving down here to retire. And they're still in their normal job. They're still working. They just haven't retired yet. Having that conversation early lets us figure out pretty quickly if maybe we need to go ahead and buy this house now before they retire, because income's going to change. Maybe they don't have a pension. Maybe they don't have certain things already set up, or maybe they're waiting to take Social Security. Because I've had people make a ton of money right now in their normal job, but they really weren't at that maximum age yet to really take Social Security benefits. Maybe they didn't have a pension, whatnot. So we kind of had to push the train down the hill a little faster on this one and said, hey, we need to get you in this house now if you plan on getting a mortgage before you quit your job because of these reasons. So kind of having that conversation early kind of puts the game plan together a little bit better than, hey, we just quit our job, we're ready to buy a house, and then we figure out we have a problem. We never want that situation.
I will say, Landon, don't listen to what I'm about to say for the next 20 seconds. I've been amazed at how many times Landon has come up with this off-the-wall solution that, once he explains it to me, makes all the sense in the world. But I would have never thought about that. And I feel like 90% of the other mortgage originators wouldn't have thought of that either. And obviously that's why Landon's on the Zoom call and why we do a majority of our business with Landon, because he's a little boy band nerdy looking guy. I get it, but he's really smart. He's kind of a numbers nerd. And I love that when he comes back to us a lot, he'll say, listen, here's option A, B, and C, but I would suggest we go with B, and here's why. And it just always makes sense that ends up being the case. All right. Concern about market prices. Buyers often delay their purchase, expecting home prices to dip. They don't want to buy at the peak, even though the market rarely moves in perfect, predictable cycles. Boy, I think that COVID really changed a lot of this for us. We saw massive prices fly up during COVID, and now things have set. We saw about an 18% increase in house prices one year here in the Charleston market during COVID. But since then, they have kind of leveled into more of a 4, 5, 6% year over year increase in home values in this market. So I just don't think that this concern is really valid too much in this market, because this market, even the National Association of Realtors this past week just had. Let me see if Mark gave me this slide. I wanted to include this slide. Is this it? Yeah. So here's from National Association of Realtors this week. They predicted double-digit growth in home sales in 2026 with prices rising 4%. So that's a national forecast. I think that the Charleston market is typically pretty more healthy than the national average. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, not only do we have a lot of businesses that have already moved here, like Boeing, for example, that's a big one for us. Boeing, Volvo, Bosch, a lot of those manufacturers. But we also have a few military bases. I mean, we have the Navy Nuke Training Command here for the nuclear reactor stuff. We have the Air Force. We have the Coast Guard. We have major colleges, College Charleston, Citadel, retirees, tourism. So Charleston's a little unique in that I've always said we're kind of in a bubble where we're protected against some of the other things happening elsewhere in kind of middle America, just because of what all we have going on here. So yes, have we seen appreciation rates slow a little bit? Yes, of course, but we're still right at, if not slightly above, the national average of home appreciation from year over year, just because of everything else that we have going on in Charleston.
Jobs drives the healthiness of the real estate economy. And South Carolina and Charleston in general is just a really healthy jobs environment.
Yeah, no, 100%. And it's the thing I always tell people about real estate will never shut off fully, ever. It will never shut off fully, because the natural ebb and flow of life will always happen. People will get married, people will get divorced, people's kids will move out of the house, they need to downsize, people need to move. All the natural courses of life will take people through real estate transactions no matter what. It's just how many net positive people do you have coming to your area is what is really the biggest factor in everything. And Charleston is still net positive across.
More moving here than moving away.
Yep, 100%.
All right, so let's go through a $500,000 house here. This is some real generic, and we've used an interest rate of 7 versus 6. So just 1% difference, because a lot of people, I'm telling you, I get a lot of people that say, I'm going to wait for the interest rates to drop some. And I just keep saying over and over and over again, now is the time to buy. If the rates do drop, you can obviously have that conversation with land about dropping the rates. But we assume with pretty good certainty that the houses are going to increase in value. And I believe that if we were to see a 5 in front of the conventional number next year in the spring, that we're going to see house prices increase $10,000, $15,000, $20,000, $30,000. And so even at a typical 5% increase of a home's value, here's what it looks like. So we've got a home price of $500,000 now. Down payment is $25,000 at 5%. Loan amount of $475,000 at a 7% interest rate. Your monthly payment is about $3,160. If that house costs $25,000 more, which I believe it will, your numbers change here, and there's only $170 in month savings by waiting, but you're missing out on the appreciation of the value of the house. Especially with a lot of my clients, where my people typically aren't doing 5% down, they're doing 50% down.
Yeah.
And so that makes a huge difference, right?
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, And I think that is actually a bigger difference than really what that graph shows. And what I mean by that is it's not necessarily about the monthly payment, because there's ways for us to kind of put you in already that refinance interest rate through closing cost incentives and stuff like that. So we can buy it down and get you to where you think rates are going to be in a year from now. So I'm not too worried about that. The biggest one is people with $300,000, $400,000, $500,000, $600,000 in home equity where they live right now. Maybe they're moving here. They're going to sell their house. Hey, you've got money. You can figure it out. And we're not so worried about 10, 15, 20 grand. But if you have a limited amount of cash, then when rates do come down, you're going to see more people enter the home buying market. When there's more home buyers, those sellers are going to be less incentivized to assist you on the other things that go into putting you in that house, like closing costs, attorneys, and things like that. So really the delta of cash needed is far greater, because it's really not unheard of right now over the last 6 to 7, 8 months to get the majority of people's closing costs covered under certain circumstances. Sometimes it doesn't work out. Sometimes it does. Depends on the seller and the house. But if you've got a first-time home buyer or somebody that's trying to move up, and we have a limited amount of cash, and we've got to use this amount of cash to put you in that upgrade or that first home, really, this is your opportunity, because we can really negotiate that thing and say, hey, seller, we need this to put them in there. Are you willing to do it?
You and I did 20 grand recently in closing costs.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, that's a huge, and that wouldn't be the case if this market was if there was 4,000 homes on the market instead of 5,300.
Yeah, so it's really the closing cost piece, but the other piece is during COVID, it was, hey, this house just came on the market. Get up off your dining room table, get off your butt. Let's go see this house. You've got 30 minutes to make an offer. What do you think? And you're just getting rush.
Yeah.
And waiving appraisal contingencies, taking it as is, no repairs, no closing costs. So now people can take their time, get some incentives, and really enjoy the experience a little bit more than just kind of hey, here it is, take it or leave it. Good? Or okay, we're going to call somebody else. Sorry. Yeah. So it's really providing people that opportunity to really have more of a conversation about home ownership than really just are we going to do this in 30 minutes or not? We have to make a decision.
Absolutely. We had a house we had 21 offers on back in the crazy times that we had listed. We had 21 offers. I had one client that I wrote about 10 offers for before we finally got one. And I had one client that at that time, it was the house that she wanted. She really wanted the house bad. And we had to go $60,000 over for her to get that house. And I begged her not to buy that house, but it was the right house. She wanted it. We did it, but it took 60 grand over list for us to get that house. And that's just not where we're at right now.
Yeah.
I'm having builders that are saying, Jeff, write me an offer. Offers are normally for resales. The home's listed at 525. We're going to offer you X. I have builders that are saying, write me an offer right now because we're just sitting on inventory. Now, part of it is because people are still a little bit afraid of mortgage. I hope we've talked through some of that. But it's also October, November, December. And this is just the time of year when homes don't sell as quickly. And these builders, if you've got a builder, let's take Lennar and Carnes, they're building 20, 25 homes a month if it's July or if it's December. They don't change their schedule. They have their capacity to build what they build. So the homes that are done now can be moved. I've got homes in Carnes right now at $350,000. I've got homes in Horizons in Carnes right now at under $300,000. That's just not really the case in May and June. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, 100%. And you want to know what's very interesting. And this is the one thing that I've seen over the course of my career. My dad was a builder back in the day and the whole thing. What's very interesting is, who is spending the most money right now on homes and what market is breaking the records right now. You know where I'm going with this?
I don't.
The super high-end luxury market.
Yeah.
More records have been broken and reaching new purchase price limits in the super high-end luxury space than anything else recently. So the most expensive home in the Old Village just recently sold, and then the most expensive home in what was it, Isle of Palms or Sullivan's Island? It was in the Post and Courier, right? Yeah. So think about that. If really we are in a problem. Usually most people with the most money don't buy anything, right? But they still see the advantage now to buying it, and they're okay reaching a new record, being the buyer that paid the most money for that house, because they usually are pretty smart people and have a lot of money. They figured something out and they're like, we're okay doing this right now.
Yeah. As is evidenced by a $4.25 million condo or townhouse last week.
Yeah. When my dad was building, funny enough, he built the most expensive homes when the traditional American public was not buying as many homes.
Mm.
He was selling higher end homes. Usually when people decided maybe we should wait for rates to drop, those are the times when people have the money to do it, they literally jump up and start doing everything because they can negotiate so much stuff.
Mike says, what is required to get the exemption when somebody turns 65 and have been in the house for 1 year? What if one spouse is 65, but the other is not yet? You know, Mike, I don't know. Landon, do you know that answer?
Yeah, so Dorchester County, let me just pull this up, bear with me. So what I would advise somebody to do that's curious about the homestead exemption is to reach out to, in our area.
They're in Berkeley County, and they every county has the website available for that. Mike, if you email me, Mike, I'll find out for you for sure. I think just one of them needs to be 65.
Yeah, that's what I'm reading. So on the Dorchester County website, they actually list it. So that's why I went there, because they actually have it laid out pretty easily to find. Homestead exemptions. If you were 65 years of age or older, 100% totally disabled or legally blind, and have been a resident of South Carolina for 1 year prior to December 31st of the preceding year, you may qualify. It does not list whether you have to have both parties that own the house 65. I would think it would be one.
I think it's one. Mike, if you throw me an email, I'll find out, which is going to be good for Andrea because I'm going to be at 65 way before my bride is. Andrea is 7.5 years younger than me.
You know, so my father, I love him to death, very frugal. He loves to save $1, right? He is over the age of 65 now, so he's getting on up there.
Yeah.
You want to know the thing that he was most excited to save money on? We went out on Sunday together, my dad and I did. You know what he was super excited about saving money on?
Is he using an AARP discount of some kind?
It was his senior discount at the movie theater.
Okay, that's a funny story because I was down in Texas, and I'm 54. I was in Texas, so this was my previous career, and I had an afternoon. So I've been in real estate for about 9 years now. So about 10 years ago, I was in Texas, and I had an afternoon. I'm by myself. I don't have meetings until that evening, so I went to a movie, and I got the senior discount given to me at the movie theater. And I would have been about 45 years old at the time.
Yeah.
I took it. I'm okay. Andrea cracks up whenever I get the senior discount around town.
Yeah.
I never ask for it, but when I get it, she's very pleased. And normally that's something that goes on Facebook. She ridicules me on Facebook on a regular basis. Let's pull up Jeff's Facebook page here right now, and let's see what the last post that she did was, and I'll prove this to you. Okay, here we go. Here's the picture that she posted. All right, you see that thing there?
Yeah, is that like a mop, like a Swiffer mop or something?
Yeah. See, you're asking. You don't know exactly what it is. It turns out you know more than I do. Poor Jeffrey, bless his heart. I pulled out the steam mop, and he was like, "What are you doing?" I said, "Cleaning," and I said, "Steam the floor." He was surprised. He thought it'd be too loud. I thought it was a vacuum. Okay.
Okay.
I don't know what a steam mop is and a vacuum is. I just know the vacuum makes noise, and I was trying to watch something. But here we go on Facebook. We have to ridicule me and put this on here. I'm sure there's something else here. Oh, yeah, here. I'm sitting in my chair the other day. I'm just sitting there. I didn't put this on my head. She comes by, puts it on my head, takes my picture, and then ridicules me on Facebook for wearing a God knows what that is on Facebook.
You look pretty content right there, Jeff.
I was pretty content. I was
about to say, you look pretty
long day. I was very comfortable.
Yeah.
Tracy says, speaking of Social Security, oh, and by the way, if any last questions for Landon about mortgage stuff, throw it in right now because we're going to be out of here. I cannot believe my voice has held on this long, but I'm going to make it the full hour.
Dude, everybody is sick right now. Everybody is sick.
Well, Andrew and the girls had it last week, and I thought I escaped because I typically have superior genetics. But then yesterday I started coughing a little bit, and when and then I slept 11 hours overnight last night.
Yeah.
And I knew it hit me today. And Mark and I tried to stay as far away. We actually had clients come in the office today. I stood at the back of the office and waved at them and yelled at them from the back of the office. I didn't want to go near anybody. Trace says, speaking of Social Security, a proper analysis should be done for when you trigger Social Security. That is a great point. That is very, very true. Talk to somebody smarter than you and figure out when it makes sense to start. Oh, there's the voice go. Did you hear that crack there?
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah. Yeah, I got a little teenage boy starting things. That didn't sound right at all.
Are you out of cocoa? Have you not had some cocoa?
Yeah, I'm out. That's empty. I'm dealing with the cold, just the spring water, not the filtered water.
That's fair. That's fair.
All right. So, hey, how you doing there? Well, just read that one owner required to be 65
there you
or
go.
older to qualify for the homestead exemption. Yeah, great. So, hope you're getting excited about your new Myrtle Beach adventure there. Good to see you on the live. Landon, if somebody wants to apply for a mortgage, do they have to have a hard credit pull to start the process?
No, we do not. So we always start with soft credit pulls. So it's basically just a really accurate credit karma. It's not going to hurt your credit, ding your credit, or anything like that. But we do a soft credit pull. And I would say 95% of the time, unless there's really something funky going on, so that 5% of the time, so 95% of the time, we don't pull your hard credit report until you're under contract and we know you're going to be buying that house. And then that's when we have to pull it. So no, we don't have to ding your credit, just to ding it for pre-approval.
Yeah. Appraisals. If they're doing a mortgage, they're going to need an appraisal. What is the ballpark cost of that? And when is that paid for throughout the process?
Yeah, so I usually have most of my appraisals paid at the closing table. So you don't have to prepay it. We'll just have it collected at the closing table. Now, if you back out of the deal or something happens, you decide not to buy the house, you do owe me for that appraisal in that situation.
Yeah.
Have had a few of those situations, but not too many. But VA appraisals in South Carolina, set cost $525. And then everything else, for the most part, anywhere from $550 to $650, give or take. So it's not crazy.
Let's talk about recast to wrap this thing up because we get this question a lot. What it looks like for somebody to buy a house here before they have sold their house in Connecticut, New Jersey, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So very often you can do a loan here, a mortgage on this house that you're buying with as little as 5% down. And then when you sell your house up north, talk through that process and what that looks like, because I would venture to say my team, Mark and I's team, have done more of these than anybody else because we have so many people that are moving here from out of the area.
Yeah. So really we use this recasting option more when somebody hasn't sold their current home. So if they are under contract and are going to close on their current home before we buy the next one, we don't really need to do this. So this is really one of those, you want to buy this home, but they don't want to take a home sale contingency. How do we do this? Yeah. So a recast, the first thing is a recast is not a refinance. So you're not incurring more attorney's fees and more appraisal fees and all the normal closing costs. It's not a refinance. So it doesn't close out your current loan and get you a new one. So it doesn't do anything like that. It doesn't change your interest rate. But what a recast allows you to do is after you closed on your current home and got your new mortgage, bring additional money to the table after the fact to put towards that balance to then lower the principal and interest payment on that mortgage moving forward for the remaining term of the loan. So briefly, let's say you have a $100,000 loan, to keep math easy, and you want to recast it. The minimum that you have to bring to the table is 10% of the current balance of the loan. So $10,000 or more in this example. So people just need to realize you're not going to be able to recast your loan by just bringing $5,000 or $6,000 or $7,000. You have to bring 10% of the current balance or more. and you can do it as many times as you want. So you can recast now. Maybe you wait a year, 2 years, and you want to recast again. You can totally do that. The biggest thing that people need to know about a recast is there is a cost of about $250 to $300 in paperwork fees. And then you're going to get a packet. So if people want to do a recast, they call me. I set them up with the packet. Once they get the packet, they fill it out, and then they shoot it back to the servicing department. Servicing department will give them the instructions on how to wire or send the money in, and then they pay the $250 to $300 fee. It takes a couple of weeks for the servicing department to recalculate everything, and then that next mortgage payment, they're set up for success moving forward.
So in general, let's say somebody's buying a $500,000 house here.
Mm-hmm.
They put down $25,000. Oh, the
Yep.
voice is going, buddy. And so now they sell their house in New Jersey,
Yep.
and they walk in with another 200 grand that they want to put down. It makes them look and feel like at the end of the day that they put down $225,000 on this house, not $25,000.
Correct. So they get the benefits of having all that money without having to wait to sell their house. Now, some people can do this. So we do have to get you approved to carry both mortgages. If you do have a mortgage on your current house and all that stuff, we'll have to run all the numbers.
Yeah.
But for the most part, it allows you to take advantage of not having to sell your current one or move out twice or anything crazy like that. It gives you a little bit more flexibility when you move and how you want to handle that moving process. And also just be competitive in the market, because that's the reason why I think most people are doing this, is to be competitive on their offer that they are making on the home down here in South Carolina. So it's really provided us that capability to put our best foot forward in a multiple offer situation.
And super important, confirm that what I'm about to say is true. We cannot recast a VA loan.
No, so that's the big one. So I have had a couple people tell me that other lenders have told them that they can recast a VA loan. And I was like, well, tell me when that happens. I'd love to see what happens, but you are correct. You can only recast a conventional mortgage. So FHA and VA loans, you cannot recast.
Yeah.
In those situations, we would have to do a full refinance in order to lower that principal balance.
And so we've talked through that with clients before, where they, the voice is going, buddy. Well, I'm glad we're at an hour. We've had people that were going to do a VA, but we went conventional so that they could do the recast, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, let's just say you got a $500,000 VA loan and you sell your house and you've got $250,000. There's nothing stopping you from putting that $250,000 towards the balance of the loan. It's just not going to lower the principal and interest payment.
Yeah.
So you can still prepay it and you still put money down. It's just not going to lower the monthly payment on it. Which is the reason why most people want to do a recast.
Yep. Makes sense.
Yep.
Landon, thank you, buddy. I always appreciate you. Thanks for filling in for Mark here, guys. Thanks for watching. I apologize for my voice. But next week, Mark will be out again, off 2 weeks in a row. And I think I've conned the hottest chick ever in the universe to be on the live with me next week. I think I'm bringing my wife on with me. So Andrea will be here to answer whatever girl questions y'all have about where do you get your nails did, where do you get your hair done. My lovely bride should be with us next Tuesday. So come back next Tuesday once I hit the magic end stream button here, a little thing's going to pop up with some information on how to book a Zoom call with us. If I hit the right button, I don't know if I will or not. We're going to go find out right now. Thank you, Landon. I'll talk to you soon, buddy.
Thanks, buddy.